It was a somber day at the ballpark. Yordan went down, left the game. Bregman led the game off with the home run, but the Astros fall for a third straight time in Toronto. We're going to talk about what needs to be fixed and what the Astros need to focus on going forward on this edition of Locked On Astros.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Beer leans back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, and you can find Brett, who almost did this epic little intro where he had a different jersey on, but he's not going to talk about that, but it was been cool. But Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. They can find me on TikTok as well. They can find me on at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
This game was a little bit hard to be positive about. I was doing a relevant stream, and it was like really hard at times. It's just like it's kind of like watching the Bad News Bears, and it started off good, and then it got worse. We're going to talk about what this could potentially mean in terms of the wild card race down the road. Also, we're going to talk about what happened to Yordan Alvarez. We all know he left the game. It was kind of a surprise. It's not anything that we saw. So what happened with Valdez in the fifth inning? And also, how do we feel now with Altuve hitting second? And look ahead towards the Guardians series, because if we think the Astros are struggling to hit, the Guardians are much worse. And this episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to us, go and become an everyday or somebody that listens to us, win or lose, on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to Locked On Astros podcast. Check us out. MZ was watching that game with me over on Relevant, and it's very easy to get negative, especially after dropping 3 straight games. Especially, Brett, I don't know if you realize this, but that puts us at 4-3 against the Blue Jays on the season on their side. So they've won the 4 games. We've lost the 3 games.
Right.
Meaning, let's say that there's a tie and when the wild card and when the playoffs end, when the season ends, and you need that tiebreaker, the Blue Jays now hold that, which is a big thing.
Yeah, they do. I still am going to be the forever optimist, and I figure at some point this team's going to figure something out. But the Astros do still have the best record in baseball since May 1st. So you can't argue that. But to take a game 1 with 11 runs and absolutely dominate the pitching, to come back, and I understand the Bassett and the Gossman game. But when Bregman jumped on the hanging curveball early from, Barrios, I was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be one of those games. And when they got the bases loaded, they could only scratch across 1 run. This game had a lot of errors and mistakes in it. I don't necessarily know that the lineup construction is the Achilles heel here, although I would have loved to see Diaz or someone else coming in at the end of the game to pinch hit or even to catch the last couple innings to get him warmed up. I was talking to someone the other day about pinch hitting and why they don't pinch hit guys like Diaz and stuff. And it's not easy to get a guy that's 230, 240, 250, like warmed up really quick and get him out there. That's how even a young player gets injured. So pinch hitting is not as simple as just randomly pulling a guy off the bench, kind of like Kirk Gibson did in the 1989 World Series and hitting a home run, limping around the bases, right? It's a lot more than that. But you would have liked to take advantage of this team because I believe the Blue Jays had just gotten swept by the Mets before they came up against the Houston Astros. And so you thought, okay, this is a vulnerable Blue Jays team. Actually, no. Oh, they swept the Mets. See, I thought they swept the Mets. Never mind. Okay, they came in hot. I don't know why I thought they got swept by the Mets. They swept the Mets coming in, but we put an 11 spot on them. And this game was terrible from beginning to end. They chased everything out of the zone. They didn't swing at anything that was in the zone. Abreu looked horrible at the plate. We'll talk about Jake Meyers' error later, but I don't necessarily know that's on Jake. I think a lot of center fielders make that same mistake he made because that ball didn't go the way balls to left center usually go off a right-handed bat. It tailed the wrong way. He didn't hook it. He sliced it. And that doesn't usually happen when they pull the ball. So there's a lot of things. I mean, when things go wrong, they go way wrong with this team. And the bats have to wake up. The offense has got to get going. It's just too freaking inconsistent. And they're not taking advantage of opportunities they have.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot of, we'll talk about the fifth inning a little bit later with Framber Valdez, but there was a lot of defensive mistakes. There was a lot of just base running. You saw Jeremy Pena. If he would have just ran, and he might have beat out that ball because the pitcher just kind of threw it wide, and then you saw Vlad Guerrero Jr. have to go get it. So if he would have just put a little bit more oomph into it, he might have got it. Then also after the game, Jose Abreu basically accepted responsibility for this game. And both of those plays, like if Abreu didn't get thrown out, you would have advanced the runner. You might have had a possibility of scoring a run there. But this is what he said. We lost the game because of me. I take full responsibility. I feel like absolute crap. I obviously take, and so he's basically taking responsibility. And when I saw that, it was like, what was he doing? Like, he's not going to steal a base there. It just made no sense what happened there. I think he was just trying, when a team is struggling like the Astros have been the past 3 days, where they've only had 15 hits in the past 3 games, that's 5 hits per game. You're trying to make something happen and you try to force the issue. And this is what happens. You have somebody making little silly mistakes like this. And this is their longest losing streak of the season at 3 games. I know it's after a series like this, it's weird to talk about playoffs right now because we're all kind of bummed, but this team is still pretty good. What are they? They are 37 and 36 and 27 right now. So they are still a good team. They're just in a little funk right now. Maybe it's they haven't played this many games back to back.
Well, no, they haven't. I mean, this is their 14th game in a row. And
right.
Look, there has to be, here's the thing. There has to be some sort of understanding in that 14 straight games, 14 days. And I know I had a conversation a couple years ago. I won't ever forget, someone at the stadium. I forget who it was, a random person. And they were like, I've worked 20 straight days before. And I'm like, it's really not the same. Like, did you sleep in your bed every night? Yeah. Did you have to travel? Did you have to go to like 3 different cities? I mean, it's literally not the same. And even though these are professional athletes, Eric, I'm not making excuses for them, but they're human and they're going to wear down, and so with 14 games in a row, they did look tired. They didn't look like they had a lot of energy. When players aren't playing sharp, when players are making errors that they made tonight, A, it's a sloppy game. B, there's got to be something more to the story than just because this team is not that bad defensively,
Yeah.
So, Framber, look, Dusty Baker said it after the game that he got gassed.
Yeah.
He is This pitch
Yeah.
clock is terrible for the game.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. And
Okay.
we got to talk about the big elephant in the room and what's going on with Yordan Alvarez. What type of test is he going to be getting tomorrow? There's a lot for us to cover, so make sure you stick around. But this episode is brought to you by Game Time.
That's right. Game Time is the app that you need to use to purchase tickets. And the point is you don't need to stress out anymore over getting Game Time tickets. Why? Because they take all the stress out of it. It's very simple. You simply download the app. You go to Game Time. You look for your event. It doesn't have to be a baseball game. It could be a theater production. It could be a comedy show. It could be a concert. Whatever it is, they have exclusive flash deals on tickets for any event. And the Game Time guarantee means this, that you will always get the best price, because if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% the difference. That way you have more money in your pocket to get more tickets. It's very simple. Buy the tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. The tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. So that's what you need to do. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, use a promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get $20 off your first order. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. And the Astros play the Guardians Friday night at 6:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Catch every pitch of the Astros versus the Guardians with the hometown broadcast of Sparky and Ford with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Astros.
All righty. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people right now being very upset with Jose Abreu. He was having a good little hot streak with the bat. I know he hit a 96 mile per hour pitch in the first inning to lead to one of the runs. But I think that if you're looking at Abreu, I don't know if they're going to go out and get a first baseman to replace him. But honestly, it's too early to talk trades. I did propose the whole Salvador Perez trade package. We can address that a little bit later in the show if y'all want to stick around. But that's something that does intrigue me, because that offers something maybe a DH type opportunity. But we do have some good news on Michael Brantley. He did a hit in the indoor cages a little bit, and he's doing a little bit of baseball drills. So he may be making a slight little comeback, but I'm not going to get too excited until we see him taking live batting practice on the field. But everybody and their mom, their dad, their sisters, their kids, babies inside bellies, everybody was panicking when Corey Julks pinch hit today for Yordan Alvarez. It's like, what happened? I mean, a lot of us were speculating on Relevant that maybe there's tummy issues or something, because we didn't see anything. Like he didn't have any sense of urgency. Like there's no like, oh, we got to get him out of here. He was just like in the dugout looking at the iPad. But apparently it's been reported that he had right oblique discomfort. And after the game, Dusty Baker said that he'll be reevaluated tomorrow after suffering a right oblique injury while swinging during his first at bat.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned a couple things. I definitely want to make a comment on. Number one, they're paying Jose Abreu 3 years, $58 million. So get it out of anybody's mind that's thinking it. They're not trading. They're not getting a first baseman. They're not replacing him. They're not DFAing him. So that just tells me you don't understand baseball and contracts and big money. They're not going to pay you $58 million and just let you go. He's not Alek Manoah. Okay, he's not going to play for the
Yankees. Did DFA Aaron Hicks, so
Aaron Hicks is. But no, Aaron Hicks is not Jose Abreu. Eric, come on. That's not even close, dude. Aaron Hicks was terrible even at his best. Jose Abreu, we're talking about a former MVP. We're talking about a guy that nobody saw this decline.
Right.
You look at his batting, his slash line this year, it matches Yuli's slash line last year. He's become Yuli of 2022. And Yuli's not playing every day. So no, yeah, he is performing quote unquote statistically better, but he's playing in half the games. So that makes no sense. But to move on to what we're talking about today, it was a shock to see Yordan Alvarez leave. Because on one of the swings, he kind of walked out of the box, and I was following Jeremy Brennan on this. He was like, well, maybe he tweaked his ankle because it looked like he was off balance a little bit. And then someone goes, well, maybe with the air quality outside with all the fires, maybe he had another asthma attack, kind of like he did in that one game.
True.
And so it was just really kind of just like threw you off. But you hope that this oblique thing isn't anything serious, because the problem with the oblique is when you strain that, and good thing Jose was only gone for 4 or 5 games, because what happens is when you're trying to come back from that, you can pull other muscles because everything's connected. Yeah. So that can be crucial. That could be a day-to-day, that could be a 6 weeks thing. It just depends on how serious it is, how he feels. And so they're obviously not going to rush him back. It's like someone joked on Twitter, the Astros offense has an oblique strain, which he has been the offense. He has been their offense, and you really
20% of their overall offense for the year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, look, Bregman got a day of rest. He came out first at bat, hits a home run. You think, okay, things are going to go well. But look, there are just so many things. We'll talk about Jake Myers once we get into the 5th inning for Valdez. That's kind of where everything fell apart. But let's just hope that this is not a long-term thing for Yordan Alvarez. I'm still not in this camp that, I'm seeing people, the Astros are not making the playoffs. That is complete hogwash. That's not even true. This team's absolutely making the playoffs. But the discussion we need to start having is, would it be more of an advantage, honestly, for this team to go into the playoffs as a wild card team where everybody thinks, oh, look, they're down and out. They're not the dominant Astros of last year. Maybe we can take them a little bit easy. Because why? Because they're not throttling people. And so maybe they go in and they're able to sneak up on people because they're, quote unquote, the underdogs. The Astros love that role. So the silver lining might be in not winning the division. We may not have to win the division to go back to the World Series. Have you ever thought about that? The Rangers may win the consolation prize of the division. That's fine. It's about the World Series. It's not about the division, y'all. You got to keep the blinders on and keep focused on the main prize.
Yeah, well, if you look at the AL Central, their teams, none of the teams are above 500 right now. So you're only going to have a division winner unless you have a team that's going on a winning streak there, come out of that division. The AL East, that division has a whole bunch of teams that are just like battling. Then in the AL West, right now you have the Astros and you have the Rangers. The Rangers currently have a 5-game lead. I'm not in the camp to think that the Rangers just going to all of a sudden drop and just forget how to play baseball. They did lose Jacob deGrom for the rest of the season with Tommy John. There are some concerns with Lance McCullers that they're going to get him retested, and there's going to be another update in the middle of next week. And not going to say anything, but there's some hints that his season may come to close.
Look, I've been speculating about Lance McCullers just being shut down altogether, just for the simple reason of give him a full calendar year to recover. Sit down at the table with Lance McCullers. Look, I know we're giving you all this money, and I know you're that dog. Like, he threw all those curveballs in a row when everything was shredded in his elbow. Okay, this is the guy that goes to war for you. This is the guy that bury me in the H. A phrase that I think is almost as significant as like never underestimate the heart of a champion. That's, what Lance has done for this community, what Lance has done for this team, what Lance has done in defending this team. You can't forget that. And so we need to pump the brakes on, like, I see a lot of people mad at Lance McCullers, mad at Forrest Whitley. And it makes no sense to be mad at an athlete. That would be like the Rangers fans being mad at deGrom for having to give a second Tommy John. It's of no fault of their own. But what I think the Astros can do going forward with McCullers, Eric, is reevaluate his role, make him an innings eater, make him a true hybrid starter, do almost like you do with the Rays, like they're due in the minor leagues. Give him those innings, and then if he wants more of a challenge, put him in the back end. Let him platoon as closer with Presley. Let him be a setup guy. I mean, Abreu, McCullers, Presley, that would be huge. So If it were me, I would shut him down for the year, give him a full calendar year to recover. Ego aside, Lance, we got to get you right, because until you're right, you're not helping the team. And that may be a tough pill to swallow. And I don't know how you'd have that conversation with him, because I know what kind of fighter he is. We've talked to him before, and you just hate to see it. I've kind of seen the writing on the wall myself, not being a sage or predictor of anything, but it just seemed like this is the route that it's been going, and just keeps going in the direction I assumed it would.
All right. So Alvarez said that he felt his oblique soreness on his final swing in the cage before the game, and aggravated when he swung and missed twice in the first at bat. So he appeared to be in some pain right then.
So okay. So hold on. So you're telling me he should have been scratched?
Probably. But who knows if Alvarez even told anybody. So
that's true. Okay. So we don't know that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So we know that we don't know how long he's going to be out. If we're going to use what happened to Jose Altuve, he was out for 4 games. Maybe that's something similar. We'll see for Alvarez. If that's the case, you hate to have him out, but I'd rather have him out for 4 days versus going on the IL or anything like that. So it's not a good situation either way, but sometimes you just gotta fit in the pants you're in and just put your big boy pants on. And somebody besides Alvarez has got to start scoring some runs. And it's just frustrating to watch this offense sometimes because it just can't get it done. And we'll talk a little bit about Valdez's 5th inning. And then I don't know if I fully agree with Altuve batting second. It wouldn't have helped today, but I don't know if it's helping him, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. So this episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. They make you look good. Like, you could be down 3-2 to the Blue Jays, but I promise you, walk out on the field with some Bird Dogs, people might think a little differently about you. Maybe Framber Valdez should have changed into some Bird Dogs while he was on the mound. Maybe the 5th inning wouldn't have come unraveled, because when you're wearing these, they give you a truly sculpted look. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I've had at least one person say, "You didn't skip leg day, did you?" And of course I said, "No, I didn't." Another cool thing that Bird Dogs has is they fit, and they're not shorts that are made stiff. Some material that they make shorts with, like, you can't really move in them. Not these shorts. I mean, these are fully flexible. They have anti-stink sweat wicking fabric. Yeah, I said anti-stink because, guys, when you're out there on the golf course and you're 15 under par, that takes a lot of work, but Bird Dog takes that out of it. So let me just tell you this. You can go to birddogs.com /LockedOnMLB, enter the promo code LockedOnMLB for a free Yeti style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com /LockedOnMLB for the free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you, they're comfortable, they're amazing, and they're the best shorts on the market. And if you want a place to hang out and you and your buddies are like, where do we go? Let me tell you, Houston area Hooters got you covered. From Webster to Seabrook, from Pasadena to Pearland, 3 in the city of Houston, Baytown, Galveston, Stafford, Humboldt, Katy, Sugar Land. They've got stuff all the time. Let me tell you, they have weekly specials Monday through Friday, 2 to 7 p.m. They have happy hour and 10 p.m. to close. Join them anytime for $3 Blue Moon drafts or $9.99 Michelob Ultra pitchers. No matter the occasion, Hooters is ready to make you happy. Go hang out with the world famous Hooters girls, and where the guys from Locked On love to hang out. A few things happening around town. Hooters Sugarland is hosting a Give a Hoot charity golf tournament benefiting the V Foundation to help aid in the fight against breast cancer. The tournament is June 15th. Sign up at the Hooters in Sugarland. In Pearland, they are doing a 3-on-3 basketball tournament on June 24th. Join your buddies and head to Hooters Pearland to sign up. And they have Monday, buy one, get one wings. Tuesday, $9.99 burger and fries. This is at all locations. Wednesday, buy one, get one boneless wings. Thursday, $19.99 wings and Big Daddy bundle. Friday, $19.83 crab legs. Saturday and Sunday, kids eat free. Go hang out at Hooters. Go meet the world famous Hooters girls and get the best service in the world.
All right. So, guys, if you can't watch the Astros game at Hooters, go and check out. You can listen to it on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and just search Astros. And hopefully, when they start playing the Guardians, their offense will be a little bit more guarded or unguarded and actually score some runs because that was a little bit depressing. They scored 5 runs in the last 3 games, and just not much what you want to see from an Astros offense that has a lot of stars. And I know that we're going to talk about Altuve in a second, and I'm not saying it's going to fix everything, but Valdez, it just looked like he was worried about the strike zone a little bit. And my biggest issue with, he kind of came unglued a little bit, but when you have the bases loaded, you always go to home plate. I think he was trying to get out of his own jam. And then I know the momentum maybe wasn't having him go that way, but throw to home plate and try to get the for sure out there. And then, but he was trying to get out of the inning by getting the double play. That's just baseball. You just get the outlet home plate.
Yeah, you do. But his momentum was taking him to the foul line. He would have had to stop, replant, throw to home plate. So there's no guarantee he would have gotten that. I think afterwards he probably maybe had that thought. The problem was not that he went to second. The problem was where he threw it to Altuve, because Altuve had to back up to get the ball, step on the bag, and throw. Had he thrown it a little bit in front of Altuve, he could have received it like a quarterback does to a receiver going forward and thrown it. And that was not a typical alignment for a double play. Okay, well, let me hold on, Eric. Let me finish what I'm doing before you go off on something else. Okay, please. Go
ahead. I'm listening.
And so Framber Valdez, look, when that umpire gave a third strike, called it a ball 4, and put whoever it was on base that they put on, that got Framber unraveled. And I remember talking to Jimmy Endersby after a game in Corpus Christi. There was an umpire that was squeezing him. I'm telling you, I saw Jimmy Endersby in 3 different at-bats in 2 innings throw a total of 6 strikes to 3 different batters, and he walked all 3 because the umpire's pitch zone or strike zone was terrible. And this was before they could challenge the calls in the minor leagues. And because I pulled Jimmy aside, we were talking after the game. He said, "Hold on 1 second." He said, "I got to go talk to somebody." He left to find the home plate umpire and he's like, I wanted to tell him how he completely changed the game for me, how he changed my approach, how he affected how many pitches I threw, all because he was not willing to call strikes in the right area. When an umpire does that, it is up to the pitcher to refocus, but that inning would have gone, I think, completely different had that walk not been a walk, had it been a strikeout. I really think they get out of that inning. There are some other things that could have happened. Obviously, the Astros,
Jake Myers not catched.
Jake Myers. But look, in that thing too, Eric, that ball, okay, because he is a right-handed hitter, usually because that ball tailed off to the right back into center field. Normally, a ball that tails off to the right from a right-handed batter is one that's opposite field. Almost every time a ball's hit the left center, the ball tails to the left. But he actually got inside the pitch. And when he got inside the pitch, he hit that ball and it careened off his bat. And it didn't tail until late, because you notice Myers puts his head down, dead sprints to the spot where the ball is supposed to be. And what does it do? It keeps going off to the right. That was a misplay, but I think that ball 9 times out of 10 goes straight. And most batters on the right side don't get inside that ball.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put that 100% on Myers. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. It looked bad at first, but the more I watched the replay over and over and started thinking about the trajectory of how the ball is, quote unquote, supposed to go off the bat, that's what happened there. And so at the end of the day, when things go wrong in baseball, they go wrong. The ball didn't bounce their way. We had a lack of effort from Pena. We had a really bad base running mistake by Abreu. Abreu and the other guys were swinging like off the plate, under the zone, over the zone. They weren't swinging at good pitches. They were watching healthy pitches. They were swinging at crap tonight. They look like me playing MLB The Show. Like, if you play against me in MLB The Show, I literally swing at every pitch you throw at me.
Thoughts?
by Dusty.
All right. So this is a really concerning quote from Dusty Baker about Alvarez. I'll put it up on the screen. We've just got to regroup and try to figure out how we're going to win some ball games and get through this. So this doesn't sound like it's going to be a 1 or 2 game type thing. This is going to be could be a lengthy thing. I know they're going to get the test done tomorrow. But just the way that was phrased, it's kind of sounds like it may be a long-term issue. Hopefully it's not. I mean, they said that they were actually talking to Alvarez, and he was actually in pain after the game as they were talking to him. So this may be something that is extended absence type thing. So, but we won't know anything until they do the evaluations and tests and see if it's a little bit more than just discomfort. But honestly, you're going to need somebody to step up, and you don't need Altuve hitting second. I don't really get that. I got it if you're going to have Dubon leading off, but Jeremy Pena, we've tried this. He's not a leadoff hitter. He's not a leadoff hitter. He's a perfect guy hitting second, but you can't hit him leading off. If you're going to have Altuve without the pressure so he doesn't hurt his oblique hitting second, then you got to have Dubon in there, and Dubon has been one of the Astros' best hitters, and for him not to be in the lineup, that was just a little weird. But
no, it was. And Eric, we could probably do like a whole nother show on this because, we like to try to stay positive on this show. And I've been very critical of Dusty at times. I've tried to take a more positive approach this year, but there are some things about players in this lineup and where they're positioned and what they're doing that at some point Dusty's got to come off of his I've always done it for 50 years that way. Like at some point, like when the question gets asked, so why doesn't Diaz get to catch Framber? Just like you want Maldonado catching the young guys. Then it's like, well, he's still learning. Dude, he freaking gunned down a runner at second. What do you mean? I don't think he's that far behind defensively as they make it sound. Some things need to change. Trade deadline, though, they're going for a bat. They're not going for a pitcher. They're going for a bat. Pitching absolutely is not the issue. It's the hitting.
Yeah, so tomorrow's game, it's going to be Christian Javier with the 7-1 record and 2.84 ERA versus Logan Allen, 3-2 record with a 2.76 ERA. And so one of the guys the Astros will be facing in this series is Shane Bieber. So this is somebody that a lot of Astros fans want to go out there and inquire. We don't really have a lot of time to talk about that, but that's something that I think we'll get a better feel for towards the trade deadline. But it sucks the fact that they lost 3 games in a row, but it is still only June. They still have time. I know it's still early. I know
it's only May. It's only June. It's only July.
It's eventually going to run out of time, but they still have time to get it together. When was the Tombstone in 2005?
I don't remember. But that offense doesn't even compare to this offense. When this offense is hitting,
I know.
That was the worst offense to ever qualify for World Series of all.
Maybe we should have done a Tombstone episode today.
No, I don't know. I'm not going to be that guy. That's not going to be.
I'm kidding. But anyway, so guys, we still love our Astros, even if they have a terrible, good, not good, ugly type of game like this. We're still Astros fans. We still support our team, and we're going to try to keep it positive. And there was some bad mistakes in this game, and we're not trying to justify anything, but just make sure you go and tune into us and go and subscribe to us on YouTube. Go and make us your first listen. And don't forget to catch Christian Javier on the mound on Friday night at 6:10 versus the Guardians. Catch every pitch of the Astros hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Astros. And Brett, I'm excited to get out of Toronto. The first game was great, but the rest of the games were not
dog, as the kids say.
Yes, basically like that. So
wait, you were in Toronto? Oh my gosh, Eric, is your passport valid? Okay, just making sure. Let me tell you, man, that Canadian border is tough to get across because dude, I've been over there, man. They check everything when you go. So, hey, we're not really in Canada. We're here in Texas with you guys and gals. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'd love that y'all hang out with us. This is your only Daily Astros podcast. We're the most listened to Astros podcast, and we love this team, whether they win or lose. That's right. He's Eric the Man Huysman. I'm H.M. Wellhouse. This has been another great episode. Y'all come back and hang out with us. We'll talk about the Indians and this weekend. Check out my interview in 2 parts with Ari Alexander from KPRC, Channel 2. Go Astros.
All right. Maldonado forever.